Hey, it's Shaves, and welcome to another edition of Anitube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos that came out this week. In this case, from November 2nd to November 8th. Today, where I'm filming this. It's unusually fast this time because I have other plans and I need to get to them. But I'm doing this too. Alright, first for the video I thought was not good. No! Scamboli Reviews. God damn it. Wait, sports anime can be cool? Dude, I think I cracked this guy. He's making the same fucking video every fucking week. He starts every video just shitting on anime. Just the fucking idea. There's no passion in this guy. He is so overly critical. It doesn't feel like he likes anime. He's complaining about how all the characters look the same and act the same and the plots are the same, but he keeps referencing Death March of the Parallel World Rhapsody in his videos almost every fucking time. And it's like, dude, nobody fucking cares if these shows exist. Like, anime's great, okay? And I'm not trying to say that, like, uniformly or anything. I'm saying, like, you need to go out of your fucking comfort zone and find shit. Which he says he does, but I don't believe it. He's like, so I tried to challenge myself to find those diamonds in the rough, shit that stands out, and to do that, I try a show I think I would hate. And then he brings up Gurren Lagann, thinking he wouldn't like it, but it was actually good. Oh wow, surprise, surprise, Gurren fucking Lagann. And he also makes a mention that nobody likes mecha. Interesting that earlier in the video, towards the beginning, he makes these boomer jokes, and he says, every episode I feel like a boomer because, well, I'm essentially telling the truth in every video. I don't think you'd be telling the truth if you said nobody likes mecha, and then you later say nobody likes sports anime. Because that's patently false. But yeah, he's just doing the same video every week. Like marketing it much better, honestly. Like having just kind of it's a cool anime, I guess. I think he said that in one of his videos or something. It's like, he just says the title. You know, there's no defining, overarching thing about it. But they're effectively the same video he's just reviewing Haikyuu. It's story, characters, animation, art, music, whatever. With like, self-deprecating and like, shitty preface of like, most anime's bad, but not this one. That was literally his shampoo video last week. That was Redline a couple weeks ago. It's literally most of his shit, and I'm so fucking sick of it. Not even the most bottom of the barrel anime YouTubers you can think about right now. None of them, at least, are making the same shit every week. I'm not even kidding you. He says, you don't have to care about the sport to get invested. Like any other sports anime in the world. It's as if you don't watch sports anime. It's like, oh, I don't like sports anime. This one's different, though. No, you just found out what sports anime is, and you found a good one. I forgot to mention, though, he's trying to say that Haikyuu is a diamond in the rough. Wow, congratulations, you found fucking Haikyuu. The second highest grossing Shonen Jump manga. Well, right now it's Demon Slayer, but at one point it was. And it's like super popular and everything. It's like, no you're not. It's like, what are you talking about? I would love you to find diamonds in the rough, my guy. I do that. I like doing that. I find this shit like Marine Express and watch this movie to see if it's good. It wasn't ended up being that good. But that's hell of a lot less popular than fucking Haikyuu. He says, if you're not funny, don't make the anime 40% comedy. I'm sorry, you're the anime as a medium is just like, I'm about to end this man's whole career. The majority of anime has comedy in it. I'm sorry, my guy. And he lampshades and parallels his own content and doesn't try to justify it. Like, he's like, I couldn't believe it. He's saying, if you're not going to put effort into setting up good jokes, don't make jokes every 5 seconds. Proceeds to make jokes every 5 seconds. Like, he's self-aware. He's actually calling attention to it in this video. That he's like, I make jokes every 5 seconds, but this show does too, and it's bad. I don't like it. Why the hell? Like, it's emblematic of your own fucking content. It's so weird. I can't even call it hypocritical. I don't even know. It was so bad, dude. He's just complaining about reactionary humor in Haikyuu, and it's like, wah, baby, my reactionary humor in my anime. Oh my god. And he does admit in this positive video, this is supposed to be like a haiku as like a positive thing. Wait, it can be cool? Wow, I enjoyed the show. Also, I skipped several times in the episode because I didn't like the comedy. And I didn't miss anything, he says. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't. You could skip entire episodes and probably get caught up. That is how storytelling can work sometimes. It just makes really dismissive comments about the animation being not great or like fine. It's like you're talking about Haikyuu, man. Like what? And then the music is. I think he said this about a couple of other shows. This is his like stock response of like, I'm not gonna listen to any of these outside the anime, but when they're in it, I liked it. It's like, I love watching this Mal review. I was so pissed. This whole video pissed me off. I hated it. Not good. Now for the videos that I thought were decent. Just okay. It was, yeah. Lolikor had anime is turning people gay, and here's why. And it's just core rapping over really like shitpost visuals. And there's so many jokes that are like in the server that I'm in with core man mode and a lot of other YouTubers. If you're an anime YouTuber, you can join this server. Please feel free. Come on in. DM Urban or Core or someone about it because it's a cool server and we have a lot of fun. And I include this shitpost in it because it's funny. It's dumb. But I include this one just as a monument to the other shitposts that are made kind of weekly with Boy Mode AMV making this like what Guts is thinking. So bad. I choked. I choked when I saw it. I was, oh no. But I just like this. And this is just kind of throwing this out as a content that like this is something we make too, and it's fun. I like people. I like this art form a lot. This is yeah, but it's just a shit post, you know. Manime Matt. Yeah. He's in the decent videos. Yeah, this is the first time I've talked about his content because every time he puts out a video, because he's still doing the weekly thing, I never care. I just don't. I'm just not into it. He usually talks very surface level stuff and surface level topics, and I don't know. But he's covering a show that's not being talked about. Welcome to Demon School, and he's doing the hot take is bad, but I like it. Trying to do the similar with Explanation Point or Scamboli. It's so weird. I've watched 3 of these videos now, and none of them have been able to define what they mean by bad. It's almost as if it's a terrible descriptor for what you're talking about. And it's really kind of just clickbait. He talks about this show and how much he likes it, and how it evokes a lot of the nostalgic shows he watched when he was younger, like Rosario Vampire or To Love Ru, even though it avoids a lot of the traps that those shows had that you could argue kind of sunk them into lower quality, like the ecchi and harem elements, and the visuals being kind of generic and not all that special. Whereas Demon School has a very particular cartoony, bubbly style to it that's very ornate and kind of goofy, even though it's not like all that animated that well. But it's like, it's neat. I really liked him talking about this show, and it was coming from a place of passion. The whole premise, or the whole kind of predication of it's bad, I think it was doing so a disservice, and I don't think that was what Manime Matt was intentioning, because he's really trying to promote this show, and it's like, I think you should watch it, but he's saying like, he's worried people aren't going to like it because it invokes these monster schools and these other shows and has those things, and he thinks he likes it because he watched those shows and liked those shows, but nostalgia, it's just nostalgia, right? And he says at the beginning of the video, his opening statement, that he has nostalgia for shows, and then he tries to watch new shows in isolation without any prior bias. He just trying to watch the show as it presents itself. And then he admits he's terrible at this because he can't help it. Yeah, you can't, because it's nearly impossible. I don't think it's healthy to try to watch stuff in a vacuum. You have your own personal experiences, not just in the media you consume, but your life. So there's things you relate to and things that you've experienced. So you really can't watch any of these shows in isolation. I'm watching Run with the Wind, and I was a cross-country person in high school, and so I relate a lot with and a club president too, so there's things about it that I'm really resonating with and I love watching. But I'm watching Reweave Starlight as well, and I'm a theater person. I graduated in theater performance, and I'm really finding a disconnect with it because it's not letting me into that world, and I don't think, and I'm having problems with it. So I don't know how it's really all that possible to watch these shows without me thinking that. I can't hang that up. That's who I am. And that's who any of us are, right? And we all have to speak to our own experiences. That's why a lot of this shit is subjective. And I don't think the qualifier of bad, that's why I think it's so amorphous. It's just like, what are you talking about? What? Bad to you, right? But not bad to other people. That's great. And that's fine. That's the spice of life, my guy. I found it kind of weird. The way he talked about Demon School was that it was the representative for all monster school shows. And he makes these comments that are like, hey, they got better art. Or like, they got rid of the ecchi, as if it's like the same creators making this show. And it's like, these are probably completely different fucking people, dude. Like, I don't know. It was weird. It's as if it's like the monster school subgenre is some monolith that's constantly changing, and it isn't as popular as it used to be. So this is a new installment of the monster school subgenre, and like that's how it came off, where it's like, oh, they got rid of the ecchi. It's like, no, this show just doesn't have ecchi elements. Like, they're not the same. If it was the same author, that would make sense. That would be like, oh, I know I like that's one of the things I like watching about JoJo, is that I know it's different stories, effectively, but it's the same author and the same general world. So he's able to do different things every part and improve upon his storytelling. But I get that it's the same subgenre, but they're apples to oranges, in my opinion. I haven't seen either show, obviously, but I can already tell from the clips you were showing that's like, these are completely different beasts, even though they're doing the same thing. If you were making a comparison video, sure, make a comparison video, but it was weird. It was like Demon School was like improving on what Rosario Vampire did, and it's like, I think there's other monster related shows besides the one you watched, my guy. He says, I know most people won't like this show, and it's like, what do you mean? How do you know that? He doesn't reference any of the mouse stats or anything like that, or like people's general reception on like Reddit or something. He just kind of assumes that because it's not as popular, or it is a niche show. And yeah, nobody's talking about this show. Very few people. I think a lot of people kind of saw it as boilerplate or whatever, and that's fair. But I feel like you have to kind of show that instead of be like, I don't know if people will like this. It's like, you don't know that. And especially if, like, a lot of us aren't as snobbery as other people, and we'll be able to watch it as like, oh, this is neat. There's nothing wrong with that. But not only that, again, the whole bad thing, you never really talk in the video of what would make this show bad. Like, you only talked about the stuff that you liked, and you're giving a pretty warm, hearty recommendation for it. There wasn't anything about it besides maybe middling production values, but I thought the style kind of looks like it makes up for it, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't look like a lot of shows recently. It does kind of look a little retro. So I think that's fine, and that makes up for it. So there was nothing bad that I saw about it. So you were like, it's bad in the title and stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it was a weird disconnect for me. But none of these points that I'm making really broke away from just kind of like, I'm happy you talked about this. And I'm happy, like, I think you make fairly okay points about your thing with ecchi and your handling nostalgia versus kind of like treating what the new show and everything like that. I thought it was good. Okay, this is a new channel, KHANTEHNT. It's actually a collab with Digibro and Best Guy Ever, which have very good chemistry. They've done work for a while. They've known each other for a long time. The more notable ones is their time when they had a a joint podcast-ish thing talking about seasonal shows, Made in Abyss and Eramaga Sensei, etc., etc. Best Guy Ever also started a new series called Tales from the Bottom last week, which I didn't seem to get. I didn't see it in my sub box. I would have covered it because it looked really interesting, and from what I saw of it, I think he really kills it. He's talking about one of the basically the lowest rated show of the season, of the fall 2019 season, on Mal. And that's a great idea. Like, I think the lowest rated, like, on the whole site is pretty stale. But this makes it really fresh, especially if it's a show that it's new and no one's talking about it. So I think this is a endless well of bottom, an abyss, if you want, of content that that I think is really cool. And I was like, wow, nice idea. So this is I call it a podcast of sorts. It's effectively without any cuts, and Digi and Nate talking about this show, one of the lowest rated shows. And I was so happy that because, like, maybe this is emblematic of the other Tales from the Bottom episode, but this particular episode of them covering that name, it never felt like bad show, bad. It felt really nuanced, and like, no, there was parts of it like they actually enjoyed, and but they were very clear of like, I don't know what's going on, or just like, and criticizing it for sure. But it really felt like they gave the show some respect. They actually did research looking into what this show is about, and like what's its deal, like why is it being made, and it's a whole gotcha thing, and there's a whole history behind it, and there's that's why it's hard to kind of figure out. But this is the kind of approach I love when it comes to talking about bad media, because it's giving it with respect and some nuance and the attention that I think these shows deserve. And Nate, I think, kind of brings it up in this podcast a bit, where it's like, that's what we do. We could say, oh, it's bad, and go die. Like he says that, it's like, yeah, you could. But it's like, it's a great point. And so they get it, and that wavelength is just awesome. And again, Digi and Nate are able to really bounce off each other very well without one of them overpowering the other or having a really awkward sense of contrast. Like, there's some people there just bickering and arguing and stuff like that. That can be kind of unenjoyable. But they were able to add to each other or contrast, and there was a lot of nuance, and it was a nice conversation. I would say that it tangents a little bit. I think there was very little cuts in here, and it wasn't very structured or anything like that. So that's why it's not, for me, something that's going to be as like a best thing of the week. Although, full apology, because Digi did comment on my last tweets about like missing Nate's other Tales from the Bottom episode. I will watch that video. I did watch a little bit into it, and I'm like, wow, he really is pulling the stops. Like, he seems to have a lot of more energy to it. He seemed really energized, and that's exciting to see. And really taking one of these shows to town. It's like, ooh, yeah, I'd be down for that. So I go watch that video too. I'm sorry it wasn't in the talking about the digest last week, but go check out KHANTEHNT. I think I was on the Luigi's Mansion stream when they were like proposing the idea of calling it canned. Maybe it was a little earlier. I don't know. I liked it though. Hyperbolic Tendencies. Now you might not recognize what this username is. I don't know the guy. I don't know if you guys remember who Hyper is. Hyper was a creator a couple years ago, and was in the same space as us and everything, and doing a thing, and he kind of blipped off the map for a little bit. He kind of went a little dark. I'm not as close with his narrative and general ethos as other people I'm sure are, but he seems to be back. And he put out this video, Haikyuu is emotional, context matters. It's a little amorphous, a little generic. It kind of washed over me. But I wanted to mention it because I don't really see him post all that often. I liked his style. There was this glitchiness to it that felt really involved and really stylized. And, maybe some people find that a little pretentious or something, but I like that person. I was like, oh, wow, I wish I could do that. I like that as, an editor, right? And I'm just like, oh, that's a cool trick. I liked it. And it's also cool to see a creator really kind of apparate and just start talking. The way the video starts is so abrupt and like you're just in it, right? And it felt like a dream in that way. You know how like dreams you don't really sometimes you don't recognize that they're starting. You somehow suddenly realize you're in it. It's kind of like that, and I like that approach. I would never be able to do that. I feel like I need an intro paragraph, and I like this like freeform like this kind of quick thought in 3 minutes, and like and it had genuine passion about Haikyuu, unlike another video this week. And I think it gave Haikyuu a lot more justice. So it was really nice, and that's why I'm putting it in decent. I was like, yeah, cool. Okay, and now for the best videos of the week. These are bangers, dude. Bangers. Oh, man. Mother's Basement. Jinx, it's Isla McTeer. I don't know if Jinx was the right word, sorry. Anthem of the Heart, the best film you've never seen. And she makes a really good point adding to that never seen part, because she makes the point where it was like, yeah, this came out right before we, in the West, got access to anime films. Where back before like 26, before Your Name, I would say, and she makes that point, like post Your Name, anime films were so much harder to get. Like usually, we would have to wait like a year. They wouldn't have the immediacy as Crunchyroll simulcast. They would still be back in the Stone Ages kind of deal, similar to what watching anime on a seasonal basis was before Crunchyroll. And yeah, just missed the boat on that. So she's like, you know, if it came out like around now, where like these films are able to get a better distribution, like the way Makia did, or any of these other films, she thinks it had a much better chance because she just pours her heart out the way she does as usual, and just loves this film, and you can really feel that. You know, I've known about this film since it was released, but never watched it. Didn't have an incentive to watch it, and I think a lot of people have that similar thing, and very few people have. It really flew under a lot of people's radar. So I'm happy she covered it very much, and obviously she does it in the same emotional storyteller, nerve weaving, and like playing with emotions, and incredible clip selection. She's just so top tier with fucking clip selection, man. It's great, and her sincerity, again, one of the best of us here. It's sick. It's really good, and it's interesting that Jeff was able. Like the reason he has it on Jeff's channel, the reason it's on Jeff's channel is because he was out in Japan for a couple weeks, but he wanted content on his channel. I'm like, oh, you sly dog! You're able to promote other people while still having content in your channel. Interesting. I thought that was an interesting clout move. I don't know how many people would be able to pull that off effectively. So I'm sure that's really exciting for Isla to have a video of hers be on such a big platform like that. That's so cool. I hope the comments are okay. And cool for Jeff to doing this and supporting other YouTubers and giving them a bigger platform. I love that. And the video itself is fantastic. This is overall an awesome success story. I'm looking forward to the other things that the other creators that Jeff highlights and what they're able to bring to the table. Good shit. MudanTV, dude, I spent $100 to see if I can make an anime, and this is based on his interactions with Otakuverse, or seeing what Otakuverse is doing with making a fucking anime. That's gonna be fucking insane, dude. Oh my god. And Mudan is able to almost give this guy kind of a promotional material in that way, because he really shows you the lesson that it takes to making something like this. The amount of effort and money and time he really is able to convey, all the hiccups he went through, like all the people that like canceled on him or didn't respond, and or just the process of making this sort of thing in like the internet age. It's so relatable, and I liked the narrative he was able to weave very much. I will admit, I kind of liked the anime that ended up happening. I liked that he literally had no involvement in it. He was like, here's the parameters, like, it's a shonen, and they have to have a fight, and there's two characters. That's it. And so, like, it was completely, like, an id of, like, birthed from something. It's like, what is and it's very out of context, but appropriately silly and had some tension to it. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't, but I don't know if it was shit. I don't know, because I feel like shit would be like boring or like or just something that like I have no resonance with. The narrative you were able to string at the beginning really supports the final product because you have all that in mind. I was thinking about like, oh, you pay this much for the animators and this much for the storyboarders and this much for the voice acting and this and this and this and this. And so all of that really sets into your mind. And if anything, it's actually really beneficial for anime fans to watch this, because I think it would have us appreciate anime as a whole, of like, wow, like even the shitty shows that we love shitting on, right? Or like be like, the art's just okay. And then you knowing that this is how much it takes, and that's not even trying to be emblematic. It's not even close to trying to be emblematic of like the actual process of making actual anime, right? But it does speak to the struggle and the lengthy process it would be to making something even at this level, you know? And the kind of whole general self-deprecation of like, yeah, it's shitty and whatever, and kind of leaning into that and I know you're high effort creator in terms of like really putting effort into your sets and your ideas. Mudan's one of the more creative anime YouTubers we have right now. The commitment that it entails to make something like this. So like the entire conceit and that being who you are, it was really interesting. It's like, I know I would want to think of something or whatever, but I'm going to lean back on that. I'm not going to do that either. And even with the editing thing, you're like, I could make it interesting, but I decided to outsource that too. And it was like, oh, wow, it was great. It was generally a great experience, and I'm so happy you did it. And I liked it a lot. This is really cool. And lastly, for the best video of the week, in my opinion, honest to God, Dr. Stone is literally Minecraft by WatTheWut. He says at the beginning, like, you thought this was a meme video, but it's not. Even though he's like a lot of kind of meme-centric kind of jokes, but good. Not like fucking Scamboli. Not like shitty Demolition D, whatever. Like actually like internet, like, oh, you get it. Oh, you know it. All right. Yeah. You know, just like the sense of humor is primo here. And the content is genuine. He really is able to draw these connections with Minecraft and Dr. Stone, not trying to belittle Dr. Stone like you'd first expect. Like, I think he makes this one small joke where he's like, Dr. Stone shit, or something like that. Because I think it's very easy to be kind of high and mighty with Dr. Stone in terms of like, oh, it's not that good. Right? But he's like, this is why I'm enjoying this show, because it's invoking the same feelings I got from Minecraft. And he's able to illustrate his experience with Minecraft so beautifully. It helps that it's literally me too. I was literally that, where I liked the idea of Minecraft so much, I quickly downloaded my computer, and I realized I sucked at it. Where I was just like, I was too like jumpy with all the mobs that would come in. I would be petrified, absolutely petrified if any like a creeper or I see a skeleton somewhere. I was like, so that was me. So I ended up liking watching Minecraft more than playing it. And he mentions Yogscast, and yeah, Israfel's not that great, but I love their content, and experiencing that, and like the other things that WatTheWut experiences through watching Minecraft, and the experience of that feeling of starting from nothing and building your way however you want, that complete freedom and drive that has to require. Like Senku and you as the player in Minecraft could stop at any time. But it's the people around you and the community, or just the general creativity that drives that keeps that engine running, basically. So it came from such a place of passion, and it felt like a peanut butter and jelly mix of anime passion and like, content, this sort of like, like anime and stuff, with the still narrative, but internet based. It's from real life, like the whole SMP Live thing. and how there's these narratives that are being spun out of thin air and they're real, you know, or in terms of like, yeah, there's some things that they kind of stage, but like it's happening in real time and stuff it's unexpected and you don't know where it's going to go next. And that internet feeling, talking about that and equating it similar to your experiences of watching anime, and that it's so cool. I can't think of another time that someone was able to marry both of those like sincerely and not being kind of like a meme, similar to how you market this video. I was sitting there towards the end of the video like, that was fucking great. This is awesome. And you put all the similar kind of high effort in that, and I do feel like you're on the same caliber with people like, and I'm sorry if I don't name drop other people, but I'm gonna name this grouping that I'm starting to form of like, oh, you're like me, you're like Man Mode, you're like Mudan in terms of putting absolute effort and like attention to detail and like good shit, making like really good content. And I know it's tooting my own horn, but I feel like there's a sense of kinship with like, yeah, you really give a shit about this. You know what I mean? Even if you might have this self-deprecation or like tongue-in-cheek thing with your friends or in general of like, I don't like Anitube and that sort of thing, and you can have that. That's totally fine. I think it gives it's a fun personality to have. It's nice personality you got there. But at the end of the day, with your content, I think it speaks for itself that there's a drive and a passion to make things and making good shit. And I only named a couple off the top of my head that are like in that immediate range, but there's a lot of you who might be watching this that are in that category, or most importantly, are close to getting to that category of like putting your heart and soul into something and putting every last drop of your detail into it, and like you're not on a deadline, you're not doing it for money or clout or views. It's just that of like, you have to express yourself because you have to. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm projecting a bit onto you, WatTheWut, so I apologize. But I'm just the stirring feeling like, yeah, it's just good videos. Oh, it juices me up, man. It fucking riles me up. I love it. Yeah, man. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I know it was kind of a shorter video this week, but I think it's a damn good one, as Etika might have said. Why did I mention Etika? I miss him. I really do. The revolution will not be televised. That shit is so fucking deep, though. Honestly, I think about that quote a lot, and it psychs me the hell out. It's like, whoa, dude. I love that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.